I believe that friendship is an active choice, and I don't think that friendship is something that you should explore just as like a consolation prize for a relationship not working out. I don't think that most relationships should end in a friendship. I think that sometimes people say that in breakups because it like feels like softening the blow almost to be like, I still want to be friends. Truce. And it's like, we don't need to do all that. You know what I mean?
Dude, where are you? Pick up your phone. I'm going to a summer party tonight, and you're obviously invited, so call me back. Okay, love you.
What's up, you guys, and welcome back to Emotionally Online, the weekly summer party for heart-to-hearts and hot gossip, hosted by yours truly, the one and only Maddie, who just spent my last weekend indulging in many heart-to-hearts and much juicy, sweet, hot gossip, classic slumber party style. And by that, I mean I had a weekend full of slumber parties with some of my high school friends, more specifically, my childhood friends who grew up in the same neighborhood as me, which is a special kind of friendship. If you know, you know. I grew up on a lake in the woods, and there was a path in the woods that connected a bunch of neighborhoods. So we were all just running through the woods all the live long day, literally every single day of summer, every single weekend growing up. Any snow day we ever had, we spent it together. We would be like, hell yes, we got the day off. We're going to go play in the snow. We're going to go sledding in Sid's backyard because she had a sick hill back there. And all of my like favorite childhood and early sleepover memories, any sleepover story you've ever heard me tell on this show was probably a sleepover I had with this group. So it was so nice to get to reconnect and reminisce on truly what I believe to be the golden era of sleepovers, which was 2008 to 2012. Just the golden era of culture and being alive, period. And to experience that time as a preteen / teen, I think was the elite circumstance to find yourself in. And I do believe that those of us that are about 27 to 32 years old right now are better than everyone because we got to experience that time period being a specific age that I feel enhanced the entire experience. Okay. To experience the world at that turning point in your childhood where you are 1 foot in the era of like, go outside and play with your friends, you know, go be offline. Social media is not really a thing yet. And 1 foot in the era where social media is coming up and you are spending your weekends, you know, recording shit and being on Facebook and MySpace and, you know, all that bullshit. We had like 1 foot in each where you got to have like the traditional no tech childhood playing outside and 1 foot in like the social media full documented childhoods. And in the early stages of social media, the bar for what content was great back then was so much lower than it is now. Like if you go back and look at what the top YouTube channels were creating in that time frame, it's like the cheekiest videos you've ever seen. They're like 4-minute videos and none of it is funny now. You know what I mean? Like the production level, the bar of what great content was like back then was just so different than how it is now. Now the production quality is upped by 1,000 and you have to put out like a minimum of 30 minutes of content for your video to do well on this platform. But you know what? I digress. It was a different time. I personally love the era of the internet we're in now in terms of production, but in terms of feeling and the experience of it all, 2008 to 2012 was an incredible time to be a kid, to be a preteen. And I feel like because we had 1 foot in this and 1 foot in that, it just resulted in me having a lot of our childhood documented through shitty videos, which is even better, which is even fucking better. And thank God for that. But we were reminiscing on all the stupid shit we did when we were in middle school and earlier than that, when we were just kids in general. And one of my favorite things we ever did, which I talked about this on Patreon recently, but one of my favorite things we ever did was I spent an entire afternoon watching an episode of Sweet Life of Zach and Cody and transcribing it line by line in a Word document on my dad's computer, printing it off. We held auditions in Kim's basement. I don't remember. It was like we were auditioning for each other. I think we just all collectively decided who got what. And if I had to like reach my brain into the past and assume some things, I would assume that I kind of strong-armed my way into getting whatever role I wanted. If I had to guess, if I had to, just speak through knowing myself, I think that we all auditioned and I was like, okay, so obviously I get Maddie, right? And like my name is Maddie, so it just makes sense. Like I think it just all makes sense that I would be cast as Maddie. That was the one I wanted. That is the one I got. And then we had a little stage in Kim's basement. And I honestly don't even remember the mechanics of this. I just remember that there was a curtain that was made from a tarp and a computer mouse as like a pulley. I don't know. I don't fucking remember. I just know that it existed. I don't know how it happened. Crazy things were happening back then. Our brains were capable of things then that they're just not capable of now. And we put on a little show, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. We made dances every summer. We would spend like the whole summer working on a dance. Those are also recorded. Kiss Brittany's boyfriend, if you know. You had to be there, I guess. But we would spend all summer working on these dances where I was basically just the dictator of the summer. Nobody else was like dancers. Some of them did cheerleading, but I was the only one that did dance. And so I was really leading the whole thing. And some of them didn't ever do dance or cheerleading. And it was impossible to wrangle everyone to do this fucking choreo. But we were having the best time ever. And those dances are so silly looking back on it. Truly one of the best things, though, and I was reminded of this weekend, was when we made an amusement park in Kim's basement. And by amusement park, we mean that we took a dog crate and filled it up with pillows and blankets. And then one by one, someone would get in the dog crate and we just slam the shit around the basement. Concrete floors. Imagine this. Dog crate, concrete floors. Fill it with pillows and blankets, shove someone inside, and then you take 8 12-year-old girls and you just knock that shit around the basement. You're just pushing it around this concrete room. They're screaming in the box. Ah! And you're like, oh, this is awesome. All right, ride's over. Get back in line. And we just switch off doing that to each other. No one ever got concussed. No one ever got hurt, to my knowledge. We also had another ride that was, I believe, just like a rope tied around a beam in the basement, and you would just wind it up and then let it unwind while you're on it. I don't remember the mechanics of this shit. I just know that those were the types of rides we were cooking up in Kim's basement. It was the place to be. You have a friend that has a basement. It can be all concrete. It doesn't fucking matter. We're going to be down there doing it up. And one time Kim's basement flooded and it ruined all of our lives. We never recovered. I'm still sad about it. I'm still sad about the time Kim's basement flooded. We used to literally, when Kim wasn't home, we'd be like, okay, we're still going to go hang out in Kim's basement. There was one time that we broke into Kim's house to go hang out in her basement when she wasn't there, but her brother was there. He was a couple of years older than us. And I just remember being in the basement and hearing a bunch of footsteps and all of us being like, okay, hide. And we're underneath the staircase in the basement and we hear him like come down the stairs and start screaming and we're all like, he found us. We're running as fast as we can, running through the house. I'm like, I've got to go. I've got to get out of here. I ran out the house. My house was, through the woods. I had to run down a path to get back home. So I was like sprinting out of the house through the field to get me to the path in the woods. I'm in the woods and I still hear my friends screaming from Kim's house, which is far away at that point. We're laughing our asses off like it's the funniest thing we ever done. And then every night of the summer, we were asleep on someone's trampoline. I remember watching Salad Fingers for the first time on a trampoline at like midnight. Did we care that we were going to wake up soaking wet from dew? No, we did not. Also, low-key terrifying. Like, so much of this is terrifying. The ice cream man gave us a ride in his truck one time. Shit is so stupid. You're not supposed to do that. And we consciously knew that we weren't supposed to do that. He was nice, though. He was our ice cream man for years. He used to give us the broken ice creams. Anyways, that's the kind of childhood I had. Those were the kind of friends that I grew up with. One foot in that kind of behavior, the other foot in the YouTube of it all. So a lot of that was recorded. And it's in my archives somewhere. Beautiful things. Beautiful things, beautiful times. So we had a little reunion up in Maine at my friend Rachel's house, which is crazy, by the way, that like we're old enough for my friends to have houses. We're old enough where like my friends have houses and they're married. And I sometimes I just feel like I look around, I'm like, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy that you like have a house and are married. And I'm here and I talk about Vanderpump Rules and watch Bravo by myself every night. Like, it's just crazy. Time is flying and everyone's lives are so different. But it's so nice to be able to carve out time to reconnect and have a little reunion where all of us can come together, even if it only happens like once a year. And we were reminiscing and talking about like what it would take, how much it would cost for you to relive high school again. And this is a question that for the most part, what do you mean for the most part? 100% of the time, my answer to that question is there's no amount of money you could offer me to relive high school. None. I'm not doing it. I'm not interested. But this weekend, someone proposed something that was the first thing that I ever heard where I was like, oh shit. That's actually the metric. That's the thing that I would need to be given in order to agree to relive high school. And I think it's a pretty good one. What was said was, and this is what I believe now, the only thing you could give me in order to relive high school again is to promise me that I would get a reality TV housewives style recording of all of it, confessionals and all. The amount of money that I would spend to have access to like every single problem I thought that I had when I was 15 in real video documented time, it's an unfathomable amount of money I would pay for that, which is crazy coming from me because in many ways I do have that. As someone who was making YouTube videos at the time, like I have a lot of that time in my life documented, and I would still pay an unfathomable amount of money to have all of the like the problems and conflicts that I thought I had at 15 years old on video. I want to see video footage of how I handled my first heartbreak. I want to see video footage of me, seeing someone go Facebook official via fucking like MacBook photo booth webcam photos, me crashing the fuck out in my middle school bedroom. Like I want to see that footage, and I want to see confessional style interviews of me and all my friends and every person I ever had a fucking crush on. I would do it all over again if I was promised that footage, because to have that footage right now, I'm 29. It's been 11 years since I graduated high school. To have that footage right now would be crazy. Like I want it so imagine how much more I'm going to want it 20 years from now, to be 30 years out from graduating high school. I'm like, fuck, I want that footage, dude. I want that footage bad. And maybe that's like the marker of a fantastic childhood, is being like, I would relive it again. I would relive all of the like worst shitty parts of being a teenager just to be able to like giggle and laugh and look back on it all. So I guess I'm really grateful to myself for recording as much of it as I do have. Maybe I'm just a Pisces. Is that what it comes down to? I'm so nostalgic. I'm such a Pisces. Do it for the memes. Give me the Housewives style recap of high school, and I'm doing all the bullshit over again. Fuck it. it. Anything for the content, baby. Anything for the storyline. All right, we have so many audience submissions to get into. So this is just going to be a big audience submission episode going through the best submissions I have seen in the box over the last couple weeks. Maddie, I am so lover girl, it hurts. I have been seeing this guy for a few weeks and I am down bad. Recently, during an 8-hour phone call where neither one of us could bring ourselves to end the conversation, he told me that he hopes things work out and that he sees himself being in my life for a long time. The partner from my last relationship never wanted to talk about the future, idea of marriage, moving in together, etc. with me in the entire 2 years we were together. So hearing a new potential partner say they're already thinking of me in a kind of significant way really hits. I like him so much, and yet I still feel the need to play hard to get or something. I hesitate even to tell him good night/good morning and ask how his day was regularly, as we aren't doing that yet. But I have told him straight up that I like him and that he's the only person I care to invest in romantically. And I've also been the one to initiate physical forms of intimacy with him. My question to you is this: what would a balance between cool girl and lover girl look like, if there should even be a balance? Is it still early enough where I could totally be coming off as too strong if I tried to be too romantic or too overly invested? Listen, I think you're coming to me with this question because you know what kind of answer I'm going to give you. Okay, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. And of course, my answer, as always, is that I want to kill cool girl with a bazooka. I want to drown cool girl in a pool. Okay, I want to bury her beneath my house. I want a house to fall on her like the Wicked Witch of the fucking West. Okay, East, West, I don't fucking remember. Fuck. Point being, I hate the idea of cool girl and think that if anybody wants to experience true intimacy and vulnerability with someone else, you have to kill the side of you that needs to be perceived as cool and nonchalant and indifferent all the fucking time. It's not cool. It's actually way cooler to care and be open and passionate and emotional. It's actually very cool to give a fuck about things, and you need to start telling yourself that. We need to kill cool girl, drown her in the pool, drop the house on top of her body, okay? So her little feetsies are just tucked out the bottom, because there is actually no difference between lover girl and cool girl, because to be a lover girl is to be a cool girl. It's fucking awesome to wear your heart on your sleeve and let everyone know exactly how you feel about them. And whoever told you it wasn't is boring. You're seeing someone, you're having a great time with them, you're catching feelings for them, tell them. Let them know. It seems like your energy is being matched completely. The person that you're seeing has already said that they're having a great time with you and that they are liking the way things are going and they're seeing this turning into something long term. Sounds awesome. Sounds like you guys are moving at a very appropriate pace, and you should absolutely reciprocate that energy if you want to. I'm going to say a quote that I've said 100,000 times on this fucking show, but it's one that's always resonated with me, and I think it's resonated with a bunch of you guys. As someone who used to have such a fear of being too much and of, saying the wrong thing and, was just afraid that me sharing how I felt about someone would scare them away. You cannot say the wrong thing to the right person. The right person for you is going to hear that you're interested and like how things are going and want to keep seeing each other and, are charmed by them and be like, oh my God. Oh my God, do you think that about me? You know what I mean? Like, the right person is going to love that. The right person's going to eat that up. The right person's going to be kicking their little feetsies and toes. All right? They're going to be on the phone like, oh my God, do you mean it? The wrong person might think it's too much, but they're the wrong person. They're the wrong person, so it doesn't fucking matter what they think. When the connection is right, when you found someone that really matches you, there's no amount of sharing how you feel that could be seen as too much. Now, and just for the fucking nitpickers in the comments, because I'm hearing you in the back of my brain already, which I would like to kill that voice at some point in my life, but we're not there yet. For the nitpickers in the comments, obviously we're not talking about love bombing. We are not talking about when you are disproportionately invested for the stage of the relationship that you're in. We're not talking about that. Okay? Cool? On the same page? You said you guys have been seeing each other for weeks. You guys are on 8-hour phone calls. He's been saying that he likes how things are going and hopes things work out, sees you in his life for a long time. And it seems like you feel the same way. You just feel hesitant because in your last relationship, you had to be a little bit more cool and indifferent and laid back because your partner seems a little, your ex-partner rather, seems a little avoidant. Together for 2 years and not wanting to talk about any kind of future is not normal to me. To me, to be with someone for 2 years and to still be like, oh my God, that's a lot when you're talking about, you know, what you see for your futures, if you want to live in the same place, if you want to get married, if you want to have kids, like you have to talk about the future with the person that you're dating. To not do that at all in the span of 2 years because your partner was like zooed out by the idea of talking about the future. I totally get why you would get in the habit of like suppressing that part of yourself because you don't want to, you know, scare them off or make them freak out, having to put yourself into a box and suppress how you're feeling to avoid bugging out your partner. I totally get how that experience could then bleed into new experiences. And it's going to take some unlearning, I guess, to just rewire your brain and understanding that like you are safe in this connection. You are with someone who is clearly expressing that they like how things are going and they're excited to keep getting to know you. You are safe to reciprocate that. And for the right person, you reciprocating interest will never be too much. It was too much for your ex because he wasn't the right person. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Also, the other part of it is like, so what if you come on too strong? I think about this all the time. Like, so what if you come on too strong? I think even if I did come on too strong with the right person, I think the right person for me would communicate that. Would be like, I think this is maybe moving a little too quick. Let's pump the brakes a little bit because I'm really enjoying getting to know you, but I need to move slower for XYZ a reason. Okay. We keep on moving. Like, I don't think that coming on too strong is that big of a fucking deal. I think that we're all adults who can use our words. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that it's that big of a deal. So my opinion is that everyone needs to kill their inner cool girl, like now, like right fucking now, because she's sabotaging your ability to really connect and have these like radically open connections with people. Be the person who cares too much. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a literal fuck? I would rather be the person who cares more in every single one of my relationships than be the person who doesn't care enough. Be the person who feels so little that I pale in comparison to the people around me constantly. I want to feel everything in this lifetime. I want to be open and vulnerable and emotional. I want to be honest with myself and with the world around me. I just think that life will be more fun that way. Kill her. Kill her. Hi, Maddie. I was listening to your latest Patreon episode, episode 50, where you mentioned cutting off / calling out friends who are dating conservative men. Shout out to my Patreon listeners. Clearly, we have great conversations on the post show, so feel free to join us over on the Patreon if you're interested. And it reminded me of something that came up last week. For context, I moved to a red state about a year ago. I live in a major city within that state, and almost all of my friends are aligned with me politically. I don't feel like I can form a true friendship with someone unless we can talk about politics and our values. But when I moved here, I had to find a roommate. A mutual friend set me up with a girl who's very sweet, but is ultimately a moderate, politically checked out, privileged girl who's happy to stay in her bubble. By moderate, I mean she grew up conservative and finds politics uncomfortable and now thinks that both sides make a lot of good points. I've accepted that she and I will never truly be close because of this. Since we've been living together, I've met some of her friends who have similar backgrounds on paper, but I get along with them super well. I was hopeful that these friends may be more politically engaged, but this weekend I was forced to face reality. We were celebrating my roommate and two of her friends' birthdays. I'd been having a great night and had been really vibing with one of them. Let's call her Judy. We're out at a bar, and Judy tells me she wants to make out with someone. I naturally am immediately on the lookout, but I realize I don't know her type. So I ask Judy what her type is. She laughs and says it's kind of embarrassing. Then this woman looks me in the eyes and says, my type is a conservative white man. I was gooped and gagged and just exited the conversation as quickly as I could. Since then, I've been trying to figure out the best path forward. Do I tell this girl we can't be friends? Do I do a quiet fadeaway? Do I just keep her at an arm's length? Do I try to have an open/honest conversation with her? Is it even possible to educate her on this stuff, or is she too far gone? This moment also got me thinking about other relationships, like the one with my roommate. It's making me wonder if she/her friends all feel this way about wanting a conservative white man, or even just being willing to date one. I spent so much of last year just wanting to meet people, and it sucks having to cut out someone who you thought you had good friend chemistry/potential with. Luckily, I have lots of other people around me who are great and I am aligned with, but it's hard to know how to handle these friendships with people I see a lot/live with. I'm a huge fan of you and this podcast, and I can't wait to hear your take. Listen, it's no secret that I have no interest in no universe would ever date a conservative or be friends with a conservative. But not only that, and to me this is very connected and is sort of two sides of the same coin, but if one of my friends started dating a conservative, they would no longer be my friend. And to me that feels obvious, because if one of my friends who is supposedly politically aligned with me and is as passionate and clocked the fuck in as I am, started dating a conservative man, I'd be like, what the fuck? Clearly, we're on two different pages politically. Clearly, you don't give a fuck as much as you think you do or say you do, because there's no world where I would date a conservative. And if my friend who is supposed to be aligned with me can, clearly we're just not fucking aligned. Like, it's so outrageous to me, the idea of like dating a Trump supporter in this day and age. I think you actually have to have several thousand worms just raving inside your brain in order to make sense of that. And to be someone who claims to be a leftist and is okay, you've got to be shitting me. Like, just fucking go talk to someone else. I have no interest in being in community with those people. I just think that they are people that care about not being alone more than they care about actually adhering to a value set. And I think that is lame. I think that's really fucking loser. That's like the biggest loser behavior I can think of, is being like, well, I don't want to be alone, so I'm going to date a conservative. I would rather just be in a relationship than actually uphold my values at all. So yeah, fuck it. I'm going to date or have sex with this conservative man. Sorry. I think that's lame too. That's where I sit. I just feel like for me to truly be aligned with someone else, they have to have a commitment to their own value set. And if you say you care about something and you say you value something, but you don't live within those values, or you're constantly behaving outside of that value set, I don't believe you actually value that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that to say you value something and to live as though you value something are two totally different things. And I'm not interested in being friends with people who are all talk and not a lot of action. You know, you say you give a fuck and then you go home and are having sex with a conservative man every night. Oh, like, that is terrifying, Sister Queen. In this day and age, you're on Instagram talking about abortion and being pro-choice and then going home and having unprotected sex with a conservative man who voted for a rapist? Like, to me, you have to be so dense and just with your eyes closed and blindfolded and just to not see how these things are so connected. So that's how I feel about it. It seems like you probably feel similarly to me, but I totally understand how sometimes, you find yourself in a situation where you are getting close to someone who you didn't realize was like that. I talked in this Patreon episode about having to cut off a friend who started dating someone conservative. And I talked in that episode about how hard it was to see someone that I cared about change overnight, and how hard I tried to salvage that friendship before just being like, it's done. Their values are no longer, and we just don't connect anymore. We don't have enough in common for this friendship to be maintained. I get how disappointing that can be, to be like getting to know someone, to be developing a friendship with someone, and then realizing that there is like a major incompatibility between you guys. I think the approach you have with your roommate makes total sense, accepting that you and her will probably never be close because of these differences. But, you're living together. You're trying to just make the living situation as peaceful and cordial as possible. It's her birthday. You go out. You realize her friends are a bunch of bozos. Here's the thing. When you ask the question of like, what do I do? Do I quietly fade away? Do I keep her at arm's length? Do I try to have an open, honest conversation with her? Is it possible to educate her on this stuff, or is she too far gone? All of that depends on how you feel about the friendship and how you feel about the relationship. It seems like you're in the very early stages of getting to know someone. If you want to take the time to have that conversation with her and try to change her perspective or have her see it differently, you totally can do that if you want to, if this relationship feels worth that effort. For me personally, I wouldn't do that. I think if it was like one of my childhood friends, I would. If it was someone that I had history with who started behaving differently, I would totally try to have that conversation and wake them up a little bit. But when it's a new person that you're meeting and you are in the early stages of learning things about them and getting to know them, and you learn something like this, to me, that would be grounds to just not reach out again and not put effort into maintaining the friendship. It's hard to say exactly because I don't know how close you guys actually are, or like if you are at a level of closeness where just slow fading would be disrespectful. It doesn't seem like you are based on this message. It seems like you just met through your roommate and have sort of been in proximity to each other because of your roommate, but are not necessarily operating within a totally separate friendship between the two of you guys. My thing is, like, if you don't have a one-on-one friendship with someone, if you are not spending one-on-one time alone, just the two of you guys, I don't necessarily think that you're that good of friends where you would need to sit someone down and be like, I do not want to be your friend anymore. I think that if you're just sort of proximity friends, you can just put in less effort, and that can be that. That's what I would do personally. I don't know. I feel like a lot of it is just using your best judgment to move in ways that are in alignment with what you believe and how you feel and what you value in a way that is as respectful as humanly possible. All you can do is your best. And I understand why this would make you think differently of your roommate and other people that you've met, wondering if all of them think this way. If they don't all think this way, at the very least, they're okay with people thinking this way, which to me is more middle of the road than I would like. And that's not to say that like all of my friends are super passionate about politics. I do think most of them are. But for the people in my life that are maybe less politically engaged, they are not less politically engaged and therefore they are moderate or conservative. They're like less politically engaged and therefore they would identify as liberals and not leftists, which to me is like a world of a difference from someone who's like, I'm apolitical, I'm moderate, I see both sides, versus someone who's like probably engages in politics the way that the majority of this country does, which is in a very surface level way. But they know what their core values are, which ultimately pushes them more left. And for me, I'm just not interested in being in close proximity to people who don't have strong personal values. and are not left leaning. I just, it just makes me laugh because I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just not interested at all. I also live somewhere that makes that incredibly easy. I imagine that in other parts of the country, it is harder to make sure that your entire inner circle is comprised of the left. But in somewhere like New York City, I'd actually be hard pressed to find someone that didn't align with my beliefs, to be honest. At the end of it all, I feel like it's just about your own personal discretion, being in touch with yourself and knowing what your own personal values are, and also understanding what values you want to see reflected back to you in your friendships. Where is the line between like what differences are okay for you to have in your friendships and which ones you're not okay to have? Personally, I'm not okay with one of the differences that I have with my friends being that they think that catching a dick is more important than staying and living in alignment with their values, which would mean that they don't have sex with conservative men or date conservative men. But not everyone feels that way. You don't have to feel that way if you don't agree with me, but that's where I sit. That's where my line is. And I think in terms of navigating enacting that boundary, it really depends how close you are to the person and whether or not you want to put in effort to have that conversation, if it makes sense to or if it doesn't. I would put in the effort to have that conversation if we had a pre-existing one-on-one friendship. But if this is a friend of a friend that I've met in passing a couple times that I was excited to keep getting to know more, I probably wouldn't say anything. I would just put in less effort. And I think that's fine. I have been going through a lot of change the past year. I was living abroad for a couple years, but after starting my first big girl job last January and absolutely hating it, I quit 6 months in and moved back to the US, back with my parents. I've been working part-time as a barista and trying to figure out a new career path in grad school. I was in a relationship for almost 2 years, a year and a half of which was in person, and the last 4-ish months being long distance. I was planning a trip to visit my boyfriend this past December. We had booked a trip together, and then 2 weeks before the trip, he broke up with me. I won't go into all the details, but this was my first relationship, and I felt blindsided by it. And of course, deeply heartbroken. We met once in person after the breakup. I did not cancel my trip and wanted to ask him more about why he broke up with me. And while I felt like I found some closure, I was also deeply hurt by some of his words and actions that day. We spoke briefly about being friends in the future, and he basically told me it would be up to me to reach out to him, which I can understand, but also resent because it feels like it's my job to start a friendship with someone who rejected me. I agreed that I wanted to pursue a friendship with him. As I continued to grieve this relationship, I have come to terms with the fact that he was not the right partner for me. I have also realized that I was very out of touch with myself, and I'm excited for the opportunity to pour into myself and my hobbies and friends, although all of my relationships are long distance right now, which sucks. I think my ex and I both made a lot of mistakes in this relationship, but I also think I poured a lot of effort and energy into the relationship that wasn't reciprocated. Every day I grow more confused as to what friendship with him would look like. I am possibly moving back to the country that I spent most of my time with him in September, and so I am inevitably thinking about seeing him again. I was wondering if you had any thoughts about being friends with exes. Here's the thing about being friends with exes. If you are confused about what it should look like at all, then I don't believe you're ready to have a friendship with that person. My take on being friends with exes is that it is possible only in specific circumstances when a long amount of time has passed and both parties have clarity on like why it is that you're choosing to be friends. I believe that friendship is an active choice, and I don't think that friendship is something that you should explore just as like a consolation prize for a relationship not working out. I don't think, I honestly, I believe that most of the time when breakups happen, you should not contact each other ever again. I think there are some circumstances where it actually makes sense for you guys to be friends and where a friendship could even make more sense than you guys being in a relationship. But I think that if you are choosing to be friends with an ex, you and your ex should be really clear-headed about the reasons why you are choosing to be friends and why you are better friends than you are partners. I don't think that most relationships should end in a friendship. I think that sometimes people say that in breakups because it like feels like softening the blow almost, to be like, oh, but like I still want to be friends. Truth. And it's like, we don't need to do all that. You know what I mean? But sometimes it does make sense to be friends. Speaking from personal experience, there's definitely multiple people in my life that I have been involved with at some point in the past. There's only one that I would truly call a friend of mine. I would say I'm friendly with the other people. But the one person who I would consider a friend of mine that I was involved with in the past, I was no contact with for multiple years before reopening that and reconnecting. And I would never have reopened that door and stopped no contact until I felt clear on the fact that I wanted to be friends, that I felt like we had a friendship, and that I was clear on why I was no longer interested romantically and why we were better as friends. For me, I never would have reopened that door until I had that clarity. And if I never got that clarity, I never would have reopened the door. You know what I mean? Like if I was heartbroken about it forever and was still hung up on it all, I would never have reopened the door. I would have stayed no contact forever. When something is done for me, it is done. I'm watching Summer House for the first time right now. And I'm like so struck while watching this show about how often these people just like say shit that they do not mean at all. And I'm like, what is it about that? Like when you break up with someone, you end things with someone, and then 24 hours later, you're hitting them up. What the fuck is that? Like truly, what is that? And like maybe this is why I'm not charmed by second chance romance as a trope in in books. Or I'm like, the second I find out a book rec that somebody gives me as a second chance romance, I'm like, fucking shelve that shit. I don't want to read it. Second chances aren't romantic to me. You know, very rarely is it a story of true romance. I don't believe. Here's the thing. If you're meant to circle the block on someone, I think it'll happen like a decade down the line when you guys are two different people. And at that point, it doesn't feel like second chance. It feels like a brand new romance. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I believe in second chances when they're that close in the timeline. It's just crazy to me. So anyways, the point of me saying that was just to say that when I am done, when I close the door on something, I really do close that door. And I would have never opened the door of friendship with this person until I knew that was true. This is why I only have one person to talk about in reference here and not multiple, because most of the time it's just not fucking necessary. You can have like a peaceful breakup with someone and stay friendly. Love to see you win from this distance over here. Hey, to have a nice break and choose to be friends, to me, there actually has to be reason to be friends. You actually have to be friends, you know? And it needs to be clear to you and to your ex why you're making that choice. So point being, 9 times out of 10, I think that you shouldn't be friends with your ex. If you do find yourself in the 1 out of 10 that can be friends with your ex, it doesn't mean you will, but you could in some timeline be friends with your ex. I still believe it takes years of no contact to make it work, if you genuinely had feelings for them. and if you're one of the people that can move on overnight, then you're listening to the wrong podcast. If and when you do move back to the same place as your ex in September, I would not make becoming friends the top of your priority list. I would suggest sticking to no contact, assuming that you have gone no contact post breakup. I think that everyone, once you break up with someone, you should always go no contact. Step 1, no contact. You go no contact for a long ass time. And then if and when it makes sense for you guys to be friends, you will know. But if you are in your head, like, confused about it, oh, I'm moving back, like, should I reach out for the fuck of it? Or like, I really wanna, I miss him. Maybe I should reach out and just see. If that's the vibe you're bringing, don't do it. Stay no contact. Stay the course. Let the end be the end. And only reopen it for a friendship if that is genuinely what you want and what feels right and what makes sense. And if it never makes sense, don't do it. That's my take on that. Hi, Maddie. I am in an emotionally complex situation and would love your insight. What's your take on emotional cheating and who gets to decide it? I have a best friend of 7 years, and recently there has been a shift from platonic love to me being in love with him. I know he feels the same way. I can tell from his eyes how he treats me, etc. But he has a girlfriend. He confided in me that she is more of a friend to him than a girlfriend and that she knows about it. Right. He does not see them working out long term, but they both currently enjoy spending time with each other. With all of this, I don't know how to act. Of course, all sexual stuff is off limits, but am I allowed to express my love for him and how I act? What expressions of love are only reserved for a romantic relationship? Since we are besties, I still treat him with love and don't want to limit myself, but I still feel confused and guilty. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, but it also does not seem right. And if something doesn't seem right, it probably isn't. Let's start there. I think that we know the difference between a friendship and a flirtationship, situationship, friends to lovers arc, whatever. He is in a relationship. So as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter that your feelings have changed towards him. Your actual relationship with him should be the same as it has been for the last 7 years. You guys have been friends. You are still friends. I don't care what the fuck he's saying about, oh, well, my girlfriend's actually more of just a friend than a girlfriend, and she knows that. No, the fuck she doesn't. That's like the craziest shit I've ever heard, actually. That is like, not only is it crazy, but it's fucking lame as hell. And from a personal perspective, like if you want my take, when you wrote that sentence, I immediately was like, oh, this fucking guy. Why would you be into a man who talks about his girlfriend like this? Like, how he talks about his current girlfriend would be how he would speak about you hypothetically if you were in a relationship. And I don't know about you, but if I was dating someone who, when I wasn't around, looked at their girlfriends and was like, oh yeah, Maddie, she's more of a friend than a girlfriend, and she knows that, even though we're in a committed relationship together, that would destroy me. I think that would destroy most people. If their partner was going behind their back, being like, oh, but like, we're more just like friends rather than girlfriend, boyfriend, fucking whatever. That is lame. That's lame and insane. And I don't like that move from him. So here's the thing. Although nothing may have happened yet, I don't think that we should even be considering it. I don't think we should be toying with it in our heads. I don't think we should be even thinking about whether or not he has feelings back or not. He's in a relationship. Shut this shit down immediately. Shut it down. I don't care that your feelings have changed towards him and now you have a crush. He's in a relationship. That's where it starts and ends. I don't care if he's saying that his girlfriend is more a friend than a girlfriend. He's in a fucking relationship. If he doesn't want to be in that relationship, he can break up. But until that happens, I think this whole conversation needs to be shut the fuck down. Because to explore it at all and to be like, oh, but I don't know. Oh, but I don't know the rules of their relationship. And like, who knows? And I can, whatever. Like, what are we doing? You feel like something's wrong because to engage with it at all is wrong. You've been friends for 7 years. How you have been behaving while being friends before you had feelings is how it's appropriate to act. To be friends is one thing. To be in this place where you're like, well, now I don't know how to act because I like him. You're not supposed to change anything at all. And if you feel like you have to, and that your feelings are too intense for you to be respectful and to be just a friend, then you need to take a step back. Because it's not acceptable to explore dreams of what this could be and flirt with your friend who's actively in a relationship. But I really don't like that he would say anything about his girlfriend being more of just a friend than a girlfriend to you. Because to me, that seems like a play. to try to be flirty with someone who's not his girlfriend and to justify it somehow, which I think is fucked up. And if I were you, I wouldn't like that, because how he treats his current girlfriend should speak volumes. Everyone likes to believe that they are different and that he would treat you differently, but I don't believe that to be true. So that's my take. I don't think there's like a who gets to decide emotional cheating. Like you know what's respectful and what's appropriate and what isn't. Don't do anything that you wouldn't want done to you. Hi, Maddie. I've been with my partner for nearly 5 years. We're at that weird point where we both still live with parents but are hoping to move out soon. I'm incredibly happy, and we both agree that we have a healthy relationship where we can be open and honest with one another. I found out recently that my ex, my first boyfriend who cheated, who did he think he was, got engaged. This bothered me. I'm not sure why. Then I felt guilty for being bothered. Maybe it's jealousy that I feel my relationship is more deserving of that milestone, or upset that he gets to experience that kind of joy when he was the one who wronged me. What are your thoughts on this? I feel very much over my ex and only kept in contact as we initially still worked together after the breakup. I don't have a massive friendship circle, and I'm looking for advice or words of wisdom from the big sis I wish that I had. To me, it actually makes complete sense to be emotionally impacted by learning that someone who couldn't commit to you, rather chose not to commit to you in one of the most disrespectful ways possible, has chosen to commit to someone else in the long term, being married to someone. It makes sense to me that it would trigger some kind of emotional response, seeing someone who made you feel like you were difficult to love or hard to love. And like when someone cheats on you, that there is like emotional repercussions to that you have to work through in years to come in future relationships. It makes total sense to look at someone who left you with so much to work through, get to have the happy ending that you wanted all along, but instead you were made to feel like you were difficult to love, or whatever you told yourself in the aftermath of being cheated on. Like, I think it makes a lot of sense to look at someone who hurt you, who like changed the fabric of what it means to be intimate and connected to someone else for you in your life. Someone who not only couldn't commit to you, but chose to not commit to you in the most disrespectful way possible. It wasn't just that they chose not to be in a relationship with you. They chose to be in a relationship with you and then chose to cheat on you. To watch them choose to be committed to someone else and to marry that person, of course, you are going to have some feeling inside you like, fuck you. Fuck you and fuck this. Because after that relationship, I got left with so much baggage to work through, and you just get to fucking go off and get married? Fuck you. Fuck you, actually. You should never smile ever again. I think it's totally okay to feel anger about that, and I don't think that having an emotional response, being bothered by it in some way, means that you still have feelings for that person. I think it's just natural to look at someone who put you through hell have a happy ending and be like, well, that just is not fair. That just is not fucking fair. Especially when it's like so closely tied to the idea of commitment, which is like what they denied you. So that makes sense. That actually makes so much sense. You have nothing to feel guilty about. It is a very weird feeling seeing someone that acted like commitment and being honest and loyal was the hardest thing ever, give that to someone else with ease. Even if you don't have feelings for that person anymore, you at one point were intertwined with that person, did have feelings for them. Of course, that can bring up old feelings for you in terms of like feeling inadequate or feeling like, you know, whatever you felt in the aftermath of cheating. It makes total sense that seeing them get married would make you feel that way all over again. It's like muscle memory. And yeah, it does suck to see people who wronged us so severely get a happy ending in the same category that they wronged us in, you know? That makes total sense. You don't have to feel guilty about that, and you don't have to be in your brain like, oh, do I secretly still have feelings, or is this bad that I'm, having a response like this, or what? It's super normal. Let yourself feel anger, let yourself feel upset about it, let yourself rage for the version of yourself that deserved better, and don't deny yourself whatever it is that's coming up for you. I don't think there's anything wrong with any part of it. I think when I've been put in similar situations in my life, I just have to take a step back and allow myself to believe that karma has my back, and perhaps karma already did have my back and I just don't know it. I hope that people can change and be different and be better for someone else. And I hope they do it far away from me, because a beautiful, wonderful, luxurious life awaits me with a love even greater and bigger than they could have ever imagined. I know the kind of love that they're capable of, and it's not one that I'm interested in. You know the kind of love that they're capable of, and it's not one that you're interested in. So let them go off and be married, because you have a great, big, beautiful life awaiting you, and you're going to get it, and karma's going to get them. Maybe it already did. Who knows? So with that, I'm going to throw it on over to the post show over on Patreon, where we'll continue chatting about what's been going on in the world this past week. Be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Maddie Drosbeck. Follow the podcast at Emotionally Online Pod. And I will see you guys on Tuesday for the Pumpcast. Mwah.